Hello! In this video, we will explain how to install the transporter in different scenarios. Before I proceed, let me quickly tell you about NAKIVO backup and replication and how it can help you protect both your Linux and VMware VMs. NAKIVO backup and replication is a comprehensive data protection solution that you can use to protect all your workloads from a single pane of glass, whether it's VMware, Proxmox, Hyper-V, Nutanix, physical servers, and NAS devices, or Microsoft 365. Backups can be protected against cyber threats like ransomware with immutability and encryption. Once a backup is created, you have multiple instant recovery options. You can learn more about the solution by going to www.nakivo.com. The transporter is one of the components in NAKIVO backup and replication that is used for reading and writing data. The solution consists of three core components: director, transporter, which is one of the nodes, and backup repository. For performance, NAKIVO has designed the transporter to maximize the speed of virtual machine backup, replication, and recovery by using all available resources. To achieve scalability and high availability in larger environments, you can deploy multiple transporters on a single site or across multiple sites. Let's start by installing the transporter on a Linux machine. First, download the Linux installer for the transporter from the NAKIVO website. You can download the installer in the Linux console using the command wget. Copy the download link from the download page and paste it into the command. Then, press Enter to start downloading the transporter installer for Linux. Wait until the file is fully downloaded. Next, check the contents of the directory where the file was saved. You need to give the installer permissions to run. Use the chmod +x command to make the file executable. Check the file again to confirm the permissions were updated. Now run the installer file. Select the language. I type 1 to select English and press Enter. Read the license agreement. Press Enter to scroll down. Be careful near the end so you don't accidentally exit. When you reach the end, type 1 and hit Enter to accept the agreement and continue. Choose the installation type. Type 3 to install the NAKIVO transporter only and hit Enter. Enter the installation location. To use the default installation location, just press Enter. Enter the NAKIVO master password if you want to use a higher security level when connecting the transporter to the director. Press Enter to continue. Optionally, you can use a custom certificate and enter a certificate path to use it. If you are not sure what to do, leave the field empty and press Enter. A self-signed certificate will be used if you did not select any custom certificate. Type 1 to confirm you want to use the NAKIVO self-signed certificate and press Enter to continue. You can specify the transporter port. To use the default port 9446, just press Enter. The installation process will now begin. Wait while the required packages are installed. The transporter has been installed successfully. To check if the service is running, use the command System Control Status NKV-BHSVC. The NAKIVO transporter service is now running on Ubuntu Linux version 24. In the second example, I installed the NAKIVO transporter on Windows. Download the installer for Windows from the NAKIVO website. Locate the Windows installer and click Download. Save the file and wait until it finishes downloading. Run the installer file. Select the language. I use English. Select the installation type. Choose Transporter Only from the drop-down menu. Enter the master password for higher security. You can expand additional options if needed. Otherwise, you can leave the default installation path and port. Read and accept the license agreement. Click Install to begin. Wait until the installation completes. The transporter has been installed successfully. Next, check the IP address of the machine where the transporter is installed. You will need this later when configuring the director. You can also check the service status in Windows. The easiest way to do that is to open the Computer Management window. Go to Services and Applications. Services. Find and click the NAKIVO Backup and Replication Transporter service to check its status. You can open the service properties if needed. The third use case is deploying the NAKIVO Transporter as a virtual appliance on an ESXi host or vSphere cluster. The NAKIVO virtual appliance with the transporter is a pre-configured VM deployed from the OVA template. The appliance is lightweight and convenient to use, especially in VMware environments. In this example, I will deploy the transporter virtual appliance on a standalone ESXi host. If you are using vCenter, the workflow is the same. Open the web interface of VMware Host Client or vSphere Client. Download the NAKIVO virtual appliance from the NAKIVO website. Find the VMware Virtual Appliance section and choose either Transporter Only or Transporter with a backup repository. In this example, I download the transporter with a backup repository. Save the OVA file and wait for the download to complete. Next, go back to VMware Host Client or vSphere Client. In this example, I'm using VMware Host Client to manage an ESXi host. Click Virtual Machines in the Navigator panel. Click Create/Register VM. Select Create a virtual machine from an OVA template and click Next to continue. Select the OVA file and enter a name for the virtual machine. You can either browse for the file or drag and drop it into the web interface. Select an ESXi data store where the transporter appliance will be deployed. Read and accept the NAKIVO license agreement to continue. Click I agree and then Next. In the deployment options, select a VM network, disk provisioning options, thin or thick, and power state after deployment. Click Next. Review the settings and click Finish to complete. The deployment process will begin. Wait until the virtual machine is fully deployed. The transporter virtual appliance has been deployed successfully. Click the transporter appliance VM to see the details. The VM is now booting. The NAKIVO Backup and Replication Virtual Appliance is based on Ubuntu Server. After the system starts, you can use the menu to configure network settings and other parameters. In the next example, I will explain how to install the NAKIVO Transporter on a NAS device, also known as Network Attached Storage. For supported NAS models, you can use the NAS Native Package Manager to install the NAKIVO Transporter from software repositories. For example, on Synology, open Package Center. Type NAKIVO in the search bar and press Enter. You will see two options: the full NAKIVO backup and replication solution and transporter only. In this case, select the NAKIVO Transporter and click Install. Read and accept the license agreement. Confirm the settings and click Done. Wait until the installation is complete. The transporter is now installed and running. If your NAS model is not supported directly, you can download the installer manually from the NAKIVO website. Expand the Installer for NAS section and choose the correct package based on your NAS vendor and CPU architecture. After installing the transporter, you need to add it to the inventory in the NAKIVO director. After installing the transporter, you need to add it to the inventory in the NAKIVO director. Open the web interface of NAKIVO Backup and Replication. Go to Settings, Nodes, and click the plus button. I select Installed Instance to add the transporter that I installed earlier on Ubuntu Linux. Enter the IP address of the machine where the transporter is installed. Enter the master password that you set during the transporter installation. You can expand more options if needed. Click Connect and accept the certificate. Then, click Add. The transporter is now added to the configuration. Similarly, you can add transporters installed on other machines. You can click the transporter to view its details. You can also hover over the transporter, click the three dots icon, and edit the settings or refresh its state. There is one more deployment option. You can deploy the transporter with a high level of automation directly from the web interface of NAKIVO Backup and Replication. Go to Settings, Nodes, click the plus icon, and click Deploy New Node, VMware vSphere Appliance. Enter the transporter name. Select the ESXi host or cluster where you want to deploy the transporter virtual appliance. Select a data store and a virtual network. Make sure the transporter can communicate with the director over the network. Also, ensure the ESXi host or vCenter is already added to the inventory. Let's go back to the transporter deployment settings. Click More Options if you want to configure additional settings such as IP address, automatic or manual, ports, and load limits. In this example, I am setting the IP address manually. Click Add to start deployment on the VMware ESXi host. You can see the deployment progress on the Nodes page. Wait until the deployment is complete. Make sure the versions of the director and transporter match. If the transporter version is older, update it. If it does not update automatically, you can update it manually using instructions from the NAKIVO website. Finally, verify that the NAKIVO Transporter virtual appliance is deployed as a VMware VM and is running on the ESXi host. Open the VM page in VMware Host Client or vSphere Client. As you can see, the Transporter virtual appliance is deployed and running. Open the VM console to view the operating system. Check the IP address and network configuration. You can also see the IP address in the web interface of VMware Host Client or vSphere Client if VMware tools are installed. And this concludes our video. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, click the like button and subscribe to our channel to catch new uploads. You can also visit the NAKIVO website to download a free trial version of NAKIVO Backup and Replication and try the solution in your own environment for 15 days.